And my phone buzzed. Who's buzzing me now? Yeah, of course.
New clients.
Huh? New clients?
New clients.
Yeah. Of course, as soon as I start streaming, somebody texts me. It's like, hey, man, you have a few minutes to chat in the next hour or two?
Of course.
Not anymore. All right. Where's my engineering journal? Okay. So I'll pop this over here. Where's the thing at? There we go. Yeah, so what are we doing? We're doing this in-town plumbing app, and it's really all Next.js. Sorry, I'm catching up with the questions you were asking. So we built, I mentioned this on yesterday's stream as well, but we built a prototype. Where's my, quit that. I got to go back to Miro. It's a video consultation app. So the idea is that if you need help, like you have a leak in your bathroom, it would cost you possibly a couple $100 to get a plumber to come look at that leak, right? And their basic idea for this plumbing company, they're like, hey, why can't they just get on a FaceTime with us? Why can't they just FaceTime us? But the problem is it's a little bit more complex than just FaceTiming, because you still want to charge customers for that service. You still need to schedule with your technicians, make sure somebody's available. And then you kind of run into some of these edge cases, especially after hours calls. It's Saturday morning. One of your plumbers is on call. Somebody wants to make that service call, so they book it. But then what if they don't show up? Right? What if they don't join the FaceTime thing? So you kind of have these edge cases where it's well, we still want to charge the person in that case. So we did our build blueprint plug, shameless plug, and mapped out the system and some of the logic they wanted. You want to select a time. And we have a whole form down here for what that looks like. They currently on their website, they have a form where you can basically submit a request, but it's not a FaceTime thing. It's just you explain the details that you're running, the issue that you're running into, and you just submit the form, and it goes who knows where. Hopefully they email you back, hopefully they call you back, whatever. It does go into their Service Titan. So Service Titan is their back end that they use for all their operations. It's the ERP for service businesses like plumbers, HVAC. You can actually see here they do water heaters, foundation, sewer gas. They do a bunch of different service things. Anyway, so we mapped out their system. We built the prototype. The prototype relied on N8N actually quite a bit. We had a very thin Next.js app in the front, and the rest of it was N8N automations in the back end. But now that we're done with the prototype and they know they want a real product, a big part of our job is actually go back through and start to productionize some of that code, bring stuff out of N8N and into the Next.js app and go from there. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
What's on your list today? You remember that one?
No.
You don't remember that one? It's a Fred Meyer ad. You'll find it at Fred Meyer. Something like that.
I have no idea what that is.
Okay.
I don't think we have that here.
Okay. All right. So, I forgot to add I was going to add the GitHub repository to the stream info so you guys could get that. I think I can. I got to get on YouTube. I can add it to the stream. I'll do that later. So kind of what I had planned for today, which kind of matches my process most times I start to code, is doing a little bit of setting up my workspace, kind of like cleaning your desk. So there's a couple things that I got stuck on yesterday. So I wanted to debug my Next.js app and the first answer AI gave me was wrong. So I didn't pursue that out. So I want to get that set up so I can actually put in the breakpoints and debug. I also want to refactor the project structure because I realized yesterday, the first time that I was looking at this code, I was really confused about what was going on. And some of it just comes down to better file, like folder names and file names. So I just want to take some time to refactor that a little bit, clean it up, so we have a clearer picture of what's going on. And then refactoring the form. So yesterday, can you see this okay, by the way? Is this a good enough zoom, or do I need to zoom in a little more?
Zoom in a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Sorry, I got stuff in my throat. Yesterday I asked AI to refactor the form that we have, and it like broke it up into 3 separate folders, each with a page file underneath. So the form has 3 steps in it, and it's like 3 steps here. Anyways, I did not like that. So we're going to try to refactor that again, make that cleaner. Once we get through all that setup, then we'll actually get into building the next feature, which is, yeah. So I've, in my back end right now, we'll get into this later, I've got basically 2 technicians that should be available for these virtual consultations. And again, because of the prototype code, we had hard coded a lot of things the first time around. So it was only looking at one technician. It was only looking at Pedro. It was only pulling Pedro's schedule. And when you booked it, you would book Pedro. Well, now we've got it set up to pull multiple schedules. So it's going to pull Pedro's schedule, and I think Adam is the second one. Pedro and Adam's schedule. Once you book it, though, we need to determine if both of those technicians are available. We basically want to randomize it and just select one technician to make that booking against. So a little bit of logic there, a little bit of hard-coded stuff we're going to have to unwire, make that a little bit more dynamic. So that'll be the first main feature we work on, and we'll try to get to some other cleanup stuff as well.
Cool.
All right. First things first. How do you debug NextJS? Let me go back to this.
You're not using the custom GPTs. There's a NextJS one.
I guess not. Let's go use it. Let's go use Codex GPTs. NextJS. NextJS. Start a conversation. I'm lonely. That's how I start all my conversations. Okay. Just kidding. Happy as a clam. I guess didn't I just cost
As a claim.
as a claim? Glad to hear it's clam. It like gently corrects me. Wow, how patronizing.
Wasn't there something on the internet where if you threaten the AI and told them you're gonna like do something bad to yourself, it makes it perform better? I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, really? That'd be pretty great. I was thinking I just cost, not Zuckerberg, Sam Altman. I just cost Sam Altman like $4,000 probably by saying, just kidding, I'm happy. I need to set up my VS Code to debug Next.js, especially on the back end, especially the back end code. Okay. Debug configuration. This does look different than what I got. Oh, you know what? I changed this port yesterday. I bet that was part of the problem. Okay, so let's try this again. Mons.json. Yeah, see, this configuration I think is bad. I'm just going to pop the whole thing in. How to apply replace describe action. What are you talking about? Oh, sorry. This is in This is in my VS Code. Let me go back to the browser. Okay, this is going to be annoying. Sorry, I'm realizing that it's... Okay, I'm just going to try that. There's some other... The Streamlabs is sharing in a weird way that I'm not used to. So I had to move your little Google Meet window off to another thing. Anyways, this launches next dev process, blah, 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 blah. Add breakpoints. I had breakpoints before. So let's go back to my routes here. So there's 2 routes, one for booking, one for jobs, and I had a couple breakpoints in here. So I'm just going to see if these work. Back to the browser. Start debugging, open VS Code, NextJs debug servers. Yeah, I guess this is ending up in my run and debug configuration. NextJs debug server app router. So if we run that, shows up at the bottom. Localhost. Super zoomed in. So this is the app so far. So schedule a virtual consultation with In-Town Plumbing. So we're going to say plumbing. And after I say next, it should hit a breakpoint, I think. Yay. Okay. Breakpoints are working. Get available time slots. So right now the UI component is maybe not working the best way that it should, because when it renders the first time, it says if there are no available time slots, or if the length is 0, say there's nothing there. But I'm pretty sure... Actually, you know what? I think I just need to fix... Okay, actually, this is more complicated. I'm not going to worry about this right now, because... excuse me, the available time slots is coming from our zoo stand store, and it gets initialized as an empty list. And I don't like this, because I want to initialize this as undefined, because I want the system to know, like, like, have you looked up data from the backend and the backend said there's nothing, or have you never made a request before? And so undefined basically means that we've never made a request before. So I might show like a loading icon first, and only after I get the request back and it's still empty, then I would say there's no available time slots. Anyways, that's not my focus right now. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to let the system run and remove these breakpoints. What is it, like F5? We'll let it keep running. Okay. Okay, so step 2 is our, selecting the time slot. So this is using, you can kind of see in the console logs, 2 should be 2, meaning I found 2 technicians, Pedro and Adam. So there's 2 available, and then it's mashing their schedules together to show us the availability. And then you would finish the form and do all that. But I'm not going to do that yet, because I don't want to make those real API calls just yet. So figuring out debugging Next.js, done. Shall we commit and push?
Yep.
Gotta do this. Git diff. Oh yeah, I did do that. Okay, I had changed something in this handler earlier today. Handler, which line is that? That's 208. So go to 208. Just remove that for a second. Package JSON. And as package JSON, I'm going to remove this. Add debugs task. Launch configuration, I guess. So refactor project structure to put back end stuff where it goes. I don't know how much, Simon, you've worked with these Next.js apps. I actually have not done a ton, but I'm looking at this folder structure here and I'm like, what is going on? It's like I've got app API. That makes sense to me. Okay, back end stuff. But then components, that kind of makes sense because it's front end stuff. Config, fine. But then I've got confirmation, contact, date, service, services. A lot of this was like AI generated, so I don't really know how it made these decisions. What I do know is services, this is back end stuff. Like these are the API calls on my back end. Let's try to clean this up a little bit. Get available time slots, that's making an API request to Service Titan. Create appointment handler, that's an API request. So all this should be in the back end.
Yeah. I can give you, if you want, I can.
Yeah, I mean, either that, tell me, if you know the standard, tell me the standard, otherwise I'll ask AI.
Yeah, let me send you a repo. So under the app folder, that's where all your main routes will go. And then I also have an API directory in there as well, which that'll have folders for all the routes. So there'll be like a payment folder with a route.ts. Components should be at a level that is at the same level as the app.
Oh, at the same level as app?
Yep.
Yeah, send me what you got. I'm also going to ask here, give me an overview. Are you sending it to me on text?
Oh, okay. No, let me, do you want me to put it in the chat or?
Could you put it in the live chat on YouTube?
Sure. Yeah, do you want me to, I'll send you an example.
Oh, because you're putting it in the Google Meet chat, huh? I guess.
I could put in either, whatever works for you.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, Google Meet or.
Okay, 1 second here. Let me find one.
Give me an overview of my project structure, especially for organizing my server-side files.
1 second here.
API, auth user, dashboard, middleware, lib, types, utils, components. Oh, interesting. You're right. Oh, so app is supposed to be just the back end stuff, it looks like?
App is your...
Oh, no. UI routes. Oh, I see.
Components. UI routes and API folder. I'm finding a...
Hooks, custom hooks, public styles, etc., etc. Okay. Yeah, that's really close to what you were describing. I think that's possibly exactly what you were describing. I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay.
Let's try this.
I just put a great example. This is one of the, I put it in the Google chat here. Shout out to John Smilga, Coding Addict. He's got some good Next.js material.
Smilga. Sweet. Create pages. Chad CN. Everybody likes Chad CN. Where did Chad CN come from? Do you know?
I don't know where it came from, but it uses the, was it Radix components? Where did Chad CN come from?
Who's the author of Chad CN?
Chad CN UI.
He built a project to provide a clean and customizable set of UI components using Tailwind, Radix UI, primitives, TypeScript designed for all that. Where did Radix UI come from? Oh, WorkOS. Radix comes from WorkOS. I hear their advertisements all the time. Low-level unstyled UI primitives. Oh, unstyled primitives. Very interesting. Okay. So if we just look at his folder structure, app components, lib, Prism public utils, it's exactly what the NextJs thing was telling me. Under app, you've got good, yes. So this is organized by
Those are routes, the front end routes. So if you go to your localhost 3000 / like bookings, that'll be your bookings route. Then you could have like a dynamic route in that if you want.
Okay. And I like how it's organized by, I'm going to say domain, organized by function. So like all the booking stuff is in bookings for page, profile. Okay, and page, okay, ID. Yeah, that's right. Page is like the index.tx for the front end.
Yep.
Okay, so how do we want to write this prompt here? So please refactor. Refactor, please reorganize. Refactor my files to follow the NextJS standard folder and file layout. And what? Give it examples?
Here's a template here.
The man with the templates.
It's part of my
Focus area.
You just put in whatever you want in that dynamic variable.
In the dynamic.
It's just an yeah.
I see.
Also, you're using agent mode. Is that you want it to automatically make the changes?
So agent mode still doesn't automatically make the changes. It will ask me to review before it does it.
Okay.
I think there is a way to change that.
Yeah.
But right now it will edit the settings. Yeah, so I have auto run turned off.
Okay. Doesn't have it just picks whatever model.
Yeah, like I said, I think it defaults to some kind of Claude Sonnet thing, and then you can insert whatever one you want to do. Framework, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if I'm actually using Chad CN. I think I'm not. I think it's using just vanilla Tailwind, it looks like. So I'm going to take that out. I'm not using those. I am using ZooStand. If you don't use ZooStand, what do you use?
I'm planning to use ZooStand in my app, but
okay.
I've used the context hook in the past, but I think ZooStand is probably better.
All right, I don't know. Let's see what happens.
Also, you may want to look into, have you tried Vercel v0?
Yeah. I think v0 is where I did Yeah. V0 is where I did a Shopify storefront on V0 actually. It worked out pretty well. So I actually made a video on that. I don't remember if I posted it or not. I know I recorded it. It's dude, like the AI. I think one of my podcast guests said it well. Brandon, shout out to Brandon. He said people think that when AI. Oh, hold on. I need approval here. First, let's create a new lib directory for shared utilities and services. App lib. Does that line up with what we were just looking at? App lib. Look at that. It got it. It kind of got it wrong. It's putting a lib directory underneath app instead of adjacent to app. Already failed. Okay, let me just stop all this. Because I just want you to... Actually, now I'm really curious. If I just... What the heck? Grab this. Let's see, this is what I was going to do the first time. For example, app. App components lib, app components lib, public, and utils would be adjacent under app would be API and the other front end pages and under API should be all the backend code organized by functional component or something. Functional domain. I'll see what it does with that. It feels...
Okay.
Well, I mean, I told it what to do, so, good job doing what I told you to do, AI. So the routes here, under API, it says routes, and it says front-end routes.
Yeah, that's a route group. So you can use the parentheses and that won't show up in the path. So you could just group it there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it's adjacent to API. I saw that. All right. Yeah, good enough. So then let's go ahead and run all that. I see the command failed due to parentheses in the path. Let's try a different approach, creating directories one by one. Cool. Yeah, that's actually another funny thing I notice a lot is that there are... And then it's going to move stuff.
Try selecting the model Claude 4 Sonnet. I think it does a pretty good job. So
Okay.
out of agent mode, you select ask and then change the model. That could be one of the reasons.
Okay. It's moving everything around. I'm going to let it finish its thing here. Hey, if there's viewer... Hey, what's up, Pushkar? My boy Pushkar is back. Hey, Pushkar, can you... Yeah, this guy joined yesterday and was hanging out with me for like an hour or two. Can you tell me how the volume sounds for Simon, who was joining us today on the stream in a Google Meet?
Test 1 2. I'm watching the live stream.
Oh, nice. Oh, so then you can hear yourself probably?
No, it's on mute.
Oh, okay.
But...
Yeah, I know I should probably do that. I should probably pull it up and test it, but new components. Okay, it's like asking me about every single step of refactoring here. Whoa, grept code base. Okay, updating imports. Yes. I was worried about this. So, Pushkar, anybody joining right now? So one of the things that made me have a slow ramp up yesterday is the way the files were laid out was confusing. Like I didn't know which files were front end files or back end files. I'd have to actually open them up and scan through them to figure out what kind of files they were. So we're just going through. Whole setup is better, neat, nice. So we're just going through and trying to get everything refactored so that I don't have to think as hard when I want to go make a change where I'm supposed to make it. There's a big giant hair on my can of Spindrift. Would you like me to update any remaining import paths? Yes, because, for example, this one's broken. Cannot find app config env. App. Okay, so app API. That's looking better. Wait, services. Did it move the services? It did not move the services. That's okay. I can fix that. It has the routes for the front end. Services is still out here, but it has no files in it. That makes me nervous because they got moved to lib services. Okay. Components, forms, sure, whatever.
Are you trying to have a routes path? The name routes as a path?
No. So I guess
Okay.
it didn't do that, right? Because it.
Yeah, it should have, if you're creating a route
parentheses.
group.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that. Pushkar says, "Hey Simon, are you working with him on this project?"
Oh, just a special guest.
So special, Simon.
I guess we are.
You're helping me. You're helping me right now. Okay, lib constants env. So here's one issue is that we assumed it was app config env. And when I say we, I mean the AI, of course. But it's actually under constants env, which is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Question. Does he have...
It's usually env on the root directory. There should be env and env.local. So that's the way that I usually do it, but I don't know if...
So I guess I've wrapped it, though. I guess part of the confusing thing here is that I've wrapped my env file. I've wrapped my .env file in a TypeScript file.
Okay.
To do like, TypeScript type checking kind of stuff. So I guess I didn't see an example of that in his thing, but I'm gonna keep this under lib, but I'm gonna rename this to config. I think. But actually, like not. So the thing I'm worried about here, though, is that if we load, I need to be careful not to load secrets into the front end. You feel me?
Yep.
So I'm kind of leery about just putting this in lib. I kind of feel like...
Yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, NextJS is server components out of the box. And if you put use client, then it becomes a client component for any sort of front end page or anything like that.
So we should be fine.
Somebody might correct me in the comments.
Simon says we're fine, guys. We're doing it. Okay. So that works. Would you like me to update any remaining import paths? Yes, update any remaining import paths. Yep. And to answer your question, Pushkar, the Progress is good. So we got debugging figured out. We're just trying to do this, fix the project structure here. We'll do a quick smoke test. Then we'll do one more refactor, and then I will get into the next feature. Review changes, edited a bunch of files, accept all, updated imports, changed app config to lib config, bunch of other stuff. Sure, accept all. You know, that'll tell me if it's broken. Oh, and then the routes. So Simon said that we got to do routes as parentheses because we don't want that explicit, like up and over here. I don't want to have to say routes/date. I just want to say date or whatever. And of course, things are broken. I'm actually just going to reboot this NextJS thing. Okay, and actually, I think I'm going to just go back to run dev for now. Refresh the home page. Okay, failed to compile because import form store doesn't exist. Can't resolve store form store in service page. Okay, where did my store go? Hooks. So it thinks this is a hook, but this is a ZooStand store. I would not consider that as a utility, but he does.
He's got a store TS.
He's got it under utils. I don't like it under lib. I also don't like it under utils. Well, yeah, because actually I like my stores to live alongside the components they're relevant to. So, for example, this store is relevant to the booking form that we're creating, which is actually something I want in the routes here, something I need to fix later. So if it was up to me, I would actually put this store. I don't have a good place to put it right now, but I'm going to put it as close to the components that it's written for as possible. And actually what I'm going to do, I guess I'll just go ahead and mock this out right now. I'm going to have something like booking form, and all this stuff is going to be under this. And I guess I need to rename this as, because of the way these routes are worked out, I need to be more intentional here. Judge me, you all. Video consultation form. Okay. That's the route. And then this store is specifically for this form, so I want that inside of that route. Types. Can you just fix that? What is types? Lib types form. Types is the same thing. I'm not like, am I a dinosaur here, Simon? But like, where did types go? They have a global types directory here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like this because again, if I'm looking for something in my code base, I don't want some huge file out here. Like I want these, I want these types to be right next to, where'd it go? Go up, scroll up. Right next to where they are relevant. Come here. Well, yeah. I mean, in this case, I would keep it simple. What, that's what I gotta do? No. There we go. Yeah, because you can roll that all up roll that all up later. Like if these types were to ever be used outside of this repository, which they probably won't be, you can always bundle them all and push them out later. So that's that. What else we got? I know we got more issues here. So I moved my form store here. I'm actually not sure why this says use form store. Like it's another refactor thing. I wouldn't, when you name your stores, do you say use form store or you just say form store?
I've seen it done both ways. I don't know if it matters. I mean, the hooks are named use whatever, but I'm not sure about the.
Yeah. I think that's what it's like we already have that convention for hooks. So I feel like I'd want to stay away from it for stores. But whatever. Service page. Okay, I have too many files open. I don't know about you guys, but I can't work with that many files. Service page. Can you just fix this? Lib hooks. It's still trying to use lib hooks, which doesn't exist. This is going to be.
You just delete that line and do an auto import with that. I wonder if that would. Oh, there, it's trying to do it.
Yeah, I was trying to do it. No. There it is. It's funny how it's like actually hard to work when I can't see the whole file. Form layout, app routes, components, form layout. Nope. Where's form layout? That's under components.
Tab.
But it's under components.
Oh.
Like app. Or not even under app, right? It's under components. Is it at / components? Yeah, I guess it is, huh? Okay. So at's supposed to be the root. Hey, it's working again. Okay. Pushkar says, let me know any project idea to work on. Looking for one recently. I told you yesterday, man. Find a problem in your own life. Find something that you want solved. Find something that bothers you that you feel like it could be better. And then just like make up a fake application that solves it. It doesn't even have to be real, you know?
Ask ChatGPT.
Ask ChatGPT. Date page. Nope. Dates page. Still got to do this stuff manually, man. And contact page. You know, the funny thing is that these are the next couple files I was going to refactor anyway. Okay, it looks like things are working again. Okay. Flash service. Okay, so I think that's refactor project structure to put back-end stuff where it goes. So that's really what I started trying to do. There's still a lot of things I would do differently here, but you got to do the baby steps here. One of the main things that confused me yesterday that I was trying to resolve was under lib services. These are the back-end services, and these are doing API calls. I would rather them not be under services. They need to be under API somehow, some way. And I also hate services, by the way. I hate directories named services. That's so broad and so vague. I think that's stupid. So I would rather book has a route here. Does this break a convention? I would rather just put like both of these files, because this all has to do with this booking notion. I'm actually not sure why there's even a job thing here. What's the difference here? What are the differences in these files?
I've seen it done where,
Book request.
and you probably see in that repo where under utils, there's an actions folder. And then you'll have actions for various services or routes.
Yeah, I'm good with actions. I think actions is a good word. Get user auth, get admin user. Okay, this is for front end stuff though, because I see it doing redirects.
That it should be a server component though. If you scroll all the way to the top.
Okay, it is using server. I see that.
And then there should be like a payment. So the payment will hit up the API /payment.
Under lib? I guess I'm like, why wouldn't you just put it under API? Like you have a folder very clearly called API for the backend. Like it makes you think like, oh, all the backend. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I see what you're saying. I can see how this makes sense. I'm just kind of surprised that you would put that under utils when we're talking about backend API calls. Unless the idea was that these could be reusable, like, hey, the backend might make this API call, but the front end might make it also. Then I could see it being under utils. Libutil. This is under libutils. He's just got it under utils. Is it still here? What did this say? Libutils, helper functions, services, API service classes, API routes organized by domain, lib services, API service classes.
It's probably like the actions file, right? Or actions folder.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to break the pattern here a little bit. I'll probably regret this later. Story of my life. I'm just going, I think I'm going to just put it under root job. I'm going to put it under one of these. I'm trying to figure out which one. Wait a minute. Body as booking request. Body as booking request. Okay, we have a duplicate thing here. So we have booking and then we have job. And I do think that, I mean, it's all the same domain, but that's really interesting. How come one Stripe checkout session URL? This one says create appointment handler, booking response. I don't understand the flow here. I'll have to look into this a little bit later. You see Pushkar's comments. I was waiting for somebody to notice the tuft of hair coming out of my head. I did that just for the stream. Okay, I'm getting distracted here because I kind of want to know why this is two separate things. I don't know why yet. Just trying to make a decision. I'm just going to move.
What's two separate things you're talking about? The two your post and the get route?
Well, yeah, so API book route, which really I guess what I should do is say API book. So there's one or two places in the code where it's saying API book, handle submission. This is on the contact page, but there's another place on the date page where it's also calling API book because it's fetching the time slots. What the heck?
Yeah, this is where the actions I think would help, because then you would just call the action. So,
Okay. But like here, I guess this is where I'm kind of confused, is that here we're calling API book and we're sending a body. Post request body. Here we just do API book. But in both cases, API book should be coming to this file. Okay. Okay. In this particular case, the first one is just getting the available time slots. So this is just bad code here because it's kind of misnamed and stuff. Because really, I see. So this one gets available time slots from the gets available time slots by whatever technicians. So I guess it's confused. It's poorly named because it's, like I said, API book makes it sound like you're looking up a booking. You're not looking up a booking. You're looking up
availabilities, right?
Availability. So rename this because it's not getting bookings. It's getting time slots, something like that. And then, okay, then why is this confusing me? So then to go back to my routes here, this is getting time slots. This is creating a new booking. So request.json as a booking request. I'm creating a new booking. And then it goes through body start time and end time, missing appointment time. Then it does the Stripe checkout. Because one of the business logic things we're doing here is we're trying to make sure that basically you have to pay up front. Okay, this is simplified logic. Down the road, we're going to make this more like mature logic where we can do like credit card holds and stuff. In this case, we're just, you pay up front, then we go ahead and book your session. So that's why you see this Stripe checkout stuff, and it actually gets back the session URL from Stripe before it does anything else, and then it responds with that. So this does not actually do the booking. I guess that's the other confusing thing here. So to do this does not actually create the booking. It just creates a Stripe session. I think, okay, that's what was confusing me, right? Because under book route, we're just doing the Stripe details for the flow. And then later in the flow, we end up calling this function, which has the same payload, the same booking request, but it's this one that finally goes out there and creates the job appointment.
Okay.
Okay, I think I understand this now. Can I ask what framework this is? Is this Flutter you're using for development app? No, this is NextJS. Have you used Flutter, Simon?
No.
Okay, we went down that road because I was trying to figure out where to put my services here. Auth service, customer service, job service. These are all wrappers around the Service Titan API. And, you know, these folder names are pretty misleading here. I mean, I guess I have this services folder that I don't like, but yeah, I'll stick them in here for now. Handler. I also don't like this, by the way. There's so many things I don't like. I hope I don't sound like an unhappy, disappointed person in life, because I'm not. Because it's kind of weird to me that the routes call the handler. Yeah, I mean, I guess this makes sense. I just wouldn't have called it handler, I guess. And then the handler calls all the services. So typically I would have seen this as controller, service, persistence or something like that, right? So I wouldn't call them handlers. Like I think that's where the action term comes in a bit better as well. There would have been a single action file that says get available time slots, or a single action file that says create appointment handler. I use Flutter to develop apps. Looks like both are same. Yeah, I actually haven't. I've heard of Flutter. I've never done an example project, so I don't really know how to compare them. Although I was talking to a prospect yesterday, and he said that their developers used Flutter, and he seemed pretty unhappy with it. I have no opinions. He was like, yeah, we're going to refactor it all. It's like, okay. Trouble. How much of that could you hear?
A little bit. I didn't hear much.
Yeah. So let's close that. Family was at the pool day, or at a pool day, and just got home. Okay, geez, what are we doing? I moved this around. This is complaining. Let me just smoke test this, make sure I didn't break anything. Refresh. I need a plumbing repair. Help. I need somebody. It's going to go look up some things. It brings it back. Okay. Looks like it's still working. That was a pretty massive refactor, though. So we're going to commit and push that. Git status. Look at all this. Look at all this craziness. And it looks like it tracked most of the changes. Got these little arrows here, so Git knows. This is what I mean, Simon. It's like, sure, I know what files changed, but did I actually look at any of that? Do I actually know what changed? Like, there's a solid 60% of this code that just got moved around by AI that I have a notion of what happened, but I really don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't code it. So my ability to know what this is doing in the future, it's not like imprinted on my brain like it used to be when I used to hand code everything. Now it's just like major swaths of things are moving around, which is why I think like the reading and the debugging and the testing of code is going to become so important in time.
Yeah, smaller commits.
Refactor for clarity.
You can also get Claude to make your commits too.
Yeah, probably could. That's actually, like, I'm serious. I'm not trying to sound like a naysayer. I feel like I'm a naysayer a lot, especially with our conversations sometimes, Simon. I'm really not trying to be that way. I think it's more just like, if you think about the commit message I just did, I don't know if this is a good example. I'm about to call myself out here. Like, what did I say? Refactor for clarity. AI, like, okay, in some ways, that's a terrible commit, you guys. But the one thing that's in here that AI would never know is the intent. Dan, why did you refactor all those files? Well, it was for clarity. You know? like AI would be super great at describing what happened, right? It's like a history book or something. It's like, hey, yeah. I mean, Git already kind of does that, but AI could summarize it and be like, oh, we did this and this. Oh, here you go, Simon. Here you go. Here's how you make it relevant. If when Claude does those commits, if it could actually go back through the chat that I was just having here, right? Because in the chat, the user would probably have some hints as to like why are you doing what you're doing. And if you could capture that, and if the Claude AI could actually put the intent into the Git messages, that would be perfect. I would love that.
You could try that.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
Yeah.
Just put it in the chat.
Yeah, someday I will. I mean, I would, because I'd have to go back and manually copy paste it, right? But it's like quicker for me to just boop.
Can you still do the at workspace? I don't think you can do, I think they changed it, but you can tag your, yeah, you can't do the workspace anymore, but you can add in the files that you changed. You can tag them in there and then just say, please create a concise one-line commit message based on the recent changes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can do that. Files, folders, code, git. Could I say branch, copy and continue to GitHub your code? What? Finish authenticating? What am I authenticating? I don't know. Should we do it? Sure.
Right.
Sure. What am I authenticating?
I've been using this
Visual.
Once you have Claude installed, the SDK, you can use this. It takes the git status and
sorry, I gotta authenticator. Whatever I'm asking me to authenticate, I gotta do it here. Congratulations. Git branch commit sure. Oh, that's like actually looking at Git. Interesting. Okay. Git status Claude P. Oh yeah, because using the Claude command line stuff based on my git status, create concise one-line commit message. Please prefix with save progress, etc. Yeah. I mean, it's still not going to pick up intent though, right? Like, just because you renamed a function, it'll be like, hey, the function was renamed, but it won't know that.
Yeah, you would probably have to add some additional context. Just say like, my goal was to do this or to achieve.
Again, it's all a context problem, because if you could tap into like your Jira, let's say, and if you were on the feature branch for that task, then you could like pull that context into those commit messages, and then it could see like, oh, you're trying to work on this feature and you made these changes, and it can start to infer some of the intent behind that. I think that would make a lot of sense. I'm just catching up on the chat here. Usman. Structure, file structure. Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime. I do think for a lot of these frameworks, like NextJs or Flutter, I think a lot of them are converging on a lot of the best practices. So you're going to see a lot of the file structures look the same, nomenclature. Like the whole industry just keeps getting better at all the best practices. So I think you will see a lot of commonalities for some of those things.
Cursor in the settings tab, that gear icon on the top right, you can also add in docs, and you can add in specific rules for, like I think it's under features. You scroll down, you can add in rules and documentation. Yeah, there's the docs section there. So you could add in like whatever AWS docs or.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
The rules, like rules for what to do, what not to do.
Okay. Oh, the rules. There it is. Always output answers in Portuguese. Yeah, the MCP is another thing I need to go do an example project with the MCP at some point. There's a whole GitHub repo about it. Okay, didn't even know about that. How would that have changed? Because one thing that just happened, right, is that I tried to tell Cursor twice the folder structure that I wanted, and it got it wrong both times. How would that have changed that? Like, is there something I could have configured either in the rules or something else that would have helped it give a better answer in that case, do you think?
Yeah, let me send you what I have set up for my user rules. This could possibly make a difference, but I think it's too long for me to send in the Google chat. Let's
Pushkar
see.
says there's a whole GitHub repo about this. Awesome cursor rules by Patrick. A curated list of awesome. I'm assuming this is the one, Pushkar. Tell me if I'm wrong. Customer behavior consistency, context, improved productivity, team alignment, specific knowledge, yada, yada, yada. So what? He's got a bunch of rules in here. Jetpack compose, prompt file, Flutter app, Dino, NextJS app router cursor rules prompt file. This is feeling like what I was looking for. Jeez, there's a lot of this stuff here. Use server components by default. Implement client components when necessary. Utilize the new file-based routing system. Use layout.js. Additional instructions. Use TypeScript for safety. Implement proper metadata for SEO. Nice. App router best practices. Edit them specifically as you need, but that's some boilerplate you can use. See, Pushkar, you know more than me, man. So what? So like, how do I use this here? Do I just...
I'm trying to send you something here. Let's see, where is the best place to put it?
Rules, use rules, project rules, add new rule. I mean, I'm guessing...
Here, I'm going to send you a Loom link, and I'll put the rules in a...
Is this top level project? AI, understand your code base. Include... If off, we will not include in request. So are these files that I'm putting in my repository here? Or do I need to like upload them?
Oh, 1 second here. It should just be text that you add in under user rules.
So .cursor/rules. Gotcha. Can I like download all of this? Delete directory. I'm sorry, I gotta zoom back out to try to get more context here. I mean, I guess I could just clone this and then go. Where's code? Whatever. Okay, let's go just clone this. So Z show here. I'm gonna go up a directory. I'm gonna just say git clone that. Awesome cursor rules. What was the path there? Rules new. Oh dear. Wow. Okay. Do I use rules or rules new? Jeez, so much.
Is there an area where you can paste the rules in under user rules? Yeah, I'm not sure if the .cursor rules is that's current.
Well, so I just did. So it's .cursor/rules and then the rules in here.
Okay.
But he's got rules updated 3 months ago, and then he's got rules-new, which has like some simplified stuff, it looks like. Like there's not as much detail here, but like under NextJS, he's got all these best practices, routing. So I guess I don't know if I should be using rules new or not, but I guess I'm just going to go with the simple one for now. And I'm going to say Next.js, Markdown, rule type, manual. This rule needs to be mentioned to be included. Agent requested, auto attached. What does agent requested mean? Description of the task. Auto attached. Attached to file patterns or just always do it. This rule is attached to every chat and command. You ever have a recommendation on that?
I thought you could just, in your cursor settings, there's that sidebar menu that says rules, user rules. It says these preferences get sent to the AI on all chats, and just paste it in there. So,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I guess that's a way to do it too.
so you could just,
Okay. I guess that's it. Yeah, so then I guess, so you can do the global way, or I guess you can also do cursor slash rules, and then the more detailed rules over here, you would then, so like manual, this rule has to be mentioned to be included. So if I tagged Next.js markdown doc, then it would send it as a rule. Interesting. I'm curious to see if that, I mean, it's kind of too late now because we already refactored. I mean, I could, just for experimentation's sake, I could like go back to the previous commit and run the command again to see if it would refactor it better. But it's 4 o'clock and I need to try to get a feature done today. So that's, hopefully it'll just get better as we go forward.
yeah.
Refactor form. Okay, I don't have time to do this refactoring anymore. Such as life. And I'll try to get this one thing done. Select one of the available technicians. Part of that means we're going to have to refactor the store. So, like I said before, good tips, by the way. Loving all the tips today. See, we should do this more often, Simon.
Yeah.
Um,
I just set you some rules in the chat.
Okay.
But that's what I'm using for next.
Okay. Oh, did it close down that other one too? No, it just hit it. Okay. So if I come back here, need to make that mobile friendly. It's like running off the side there. Sorry, I just saw my hair. I just saw my hair in the stream. Looks ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. So you select your plumbing, or you select the type of service that you need. You put in the details. It takes a second to look up the available time slots, and then it gives you the merged time slots from both Pedro and Adam, because that's what I have set up on the back end, as I said earlier. And now the issue is the front end here, like it knows that 8:30 is available. It doesn't necessarily know who that's available for. Is it Adam? Is it Pedro? Is it both? And so once I select it, I need to make sure that it's going to go pull that from the right technician. And a lot of that logic should be in my backend somewhere, probably in my handler. So when it's getting the available time slots, it's going to use the technician service. It's going to get all technicians. We did some of this yesterday. It has to do a lot of stuff because the Service Titan's a big system. So there's like a lot of different entities. So you have to get the technicians in one request. You have to get their shifts in another request. You then have to do the logic to figure out the schedules. It's going to eventually, and then it munges those together. Oh, yeah, because then it filters out shifts because, for instance, Pedro's working from like 9 to 5 or Adam's working from 10 to 4. So it has to be aware of like their schedules, and it also has to be aware of other events that are already booked. So I think it also looks up existing appointments for both of those technicians, all the technicians. And then it returns available time slots. And one thing I noticed with this is that the data structure here is just the date string and then a list of time slots as a string. In fact, now we can use our handy dandy breakpoint, I hope. If I redo this. I'm not debugging, so hold on. Hold up. Hey. Run and debug. Just gonna run that.
I need to use that more often.
Yeah, I know. It usually takes me forever to get it set up on a project. And then when I finally do, I was like, how did I live without this? Pushkar is asking if Simon is also a solopreneur.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
He's being modest. Come on. Breakpoint. Yeah, breakpoint. Okay. Let's take a look at this data.
At the moment.
At the moment, while I'm out of work. Okay, so 24 technicians in the database. Database meaning Service Titan. What was I looking for? Available time slots. I don't like this data structure. It's kind of weird. Okay, so it's coming back like June 4th, and then it's just a bunch of string values. 7:30, 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10, whatever. Main issue is that I don't know if, again, at 7:30, I don't know if that's Pedro or if that's Adam. So it's going to return all this, and it's going to return it back to, I can just do like this, right? I can say step out. Back to my route here. Step out. That's going to go back to the front end, which we don't have the debug breakpoint set in the browser, so I'm not going to be able to see that. But this is the date page. So if I go to date page, fetch time slots, set available time slots, this goes into the zoo stand store for set available time slots, which of course is that same data structure. So I wonder if I can just tell AI to fix that, the agent, and I wonder if it'll just do it. Right, so if I say update, that's going to be, hold on, form stores, a page. So page uses the form store. It's going to call the route, and it calls this handler. So update handler. Uh-oh, why do I have two handlers? I have handler under services here. Why did I say two handlers? App API services handler. That one's correct. App services.
Did you move it recently? Oh, you got two.
Handler. Why do I have two? That must have been a bad bug. I just want to delete this. Delete. See if it breaks my codes. Okay. Try this again. Yeah, you're fine. You're gonna fail? No, you're fine. So update handler, it still thinks it's there. Should be under API services. And use form store. To make sure we track each available technician at each time slot because later when someone books a slot, I want to randomly choose a technician to assign to that job. We'll see what it does. First, let's update the types. Good. That's how I would have started, actually. Technician time slot. Each time slot has a technician. I guess I need to get rid of these breakpoints here. I keep getting hit. Now let's update the handler to track technicians for each time slot. Good. I would probably approve that. So you can see that with the AI agent here, Simon, like, it stages the changes, but it won't actually make them until I accept them.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's update the create appointment handler to randomly select. So it's going an extra step and actually trying to do the randomized selection. Let me fix the TypeScript errors.
I wonder if the quality is going to change based on the model, because you don't know which model you're using right now.
Oh yeah, you started saying that earlier. I will do that as soon as this is done. Now when the user books a slot, the system will check which technicians are available for that specific time slot and randomly select one, blah, blah, blah. Would you like me to add any additional validation? No, not yet. Edited 15 files. I think this is across the whole context, not in this one last command. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to accept all. And then, see, this is like the new workflow, right? The new workflow is have AI write you a bunch of code, and then you have to go validate that it did what it was actually supposed to do. And I want to do that with just some well-placed breakpoints. So I just want to know what this data structure is here. Oh, how come I couldn't do that? It's weird. I think okay, it's like got reloaded too many times, so it's not picking up the breakpoints correctly. You see that? It's like when I put the breakpoint up here, it doesn't actually show up. It shows up way down here. Thanks, guys.
Did you create a video on how to set that up?
The debugging?
Debugger? Yeah.
It was in the beginning. I think we were streaming when we did that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that'll be at the beginning. I think I just went to your GPT because you suggested the NextJs GPT. We went there, asked it how to debug, and it just worked. Worked first time. Although, as you can see, it's like after AI modifies a bunch of the files, it kind of starts to lose track of the, what do they call it, the source mapping. So it can't figure out exactly where those breakpoints are supposed to be. Which I guess I'll just kill it and restart it, right? And what is it? Just F5 to start debugging again. Just F5. See if it works this time. I think that's going to work. Okay, so available time slots. I wanted to know that. I'm assuming this all gets updated correctly. I mean, that's going to be the same data structure there. So really the only other thing I care about is when I make the booking, which I guess is the same file I was just looking at. It's confusing. So when I create the appointment, ooh, it pulled in the technician service, but it's not actually using it. That's a little bit of a red flag. Why would it do that? I honestly feel like I'm just going to step through a lot of this logic here. Get available time slots to find. Okay, it's like reissuing the request, I think, which I feel like I don't want it to do that. I mean, I guess that would be wise, because what if somebody has booked since the last time we checked? So I guess that's good. Okay, let's just try it. So I'm going to go back to service just because I want to make sure things worked. Hit next. going to ask, it's going to look for the available time slots. Let's take a look at this data structure here. Available time slots. So we still have the date. And then each time slot here. So time slots is an array of objects, and each object has the time like it used to have. And then the technicians by ID and name. Cool. So that looks pretty groovy because now I know who the technicians are. See, okay, this is interesting because this is like just the first request to populate the page. So if I let this run through, invalid date populates the page with all these invalid dates because something else didn't get updated. That's fine. What I was going to say, though, is that even once I select one of these dates, which I feel like something's going to break here, even if I was to select a date, it's going to go to the back end, and then it's going to... It doesn't, like, what am I trying to say? You're only sending, I guess, the time to the back end. What is it even sending here? Yeah, the start time and end time. You're only sending the start time and end time, so it doesn't say, you know, Pedro's available, choose Pedro. It just says book this time, and then the back end has to basically redo that logic to see who's available at that time. And does that make sense?
So there's no time slot ID or anything like that? Create job, appointment handler.
Yeah, not currently. Well, there's no time slot ID, but there's also, like, even though we went through the work of associating the technician to the time slot, we're not using that information when we go to make the actual booking. We're not passing down the fact that, hey, these are the two technicians available for that time slot. We just pass down the time, and then the back end has to redo the logic. And I'm not sure how I feel about that because in the interest of keeping, so, you know, one of the problems is that if there's a big delay where I tell the user, hey, this time slot's available, and then it takes them 5 minutes to actually select a time, that time slot might not be available after 5 minutes because somebody else might have come in and booked it, right? There's like a race condition that could happen there. I feel like that's something that we would handle later at scale. I feel like I just want to try to keep the system as simple as possible right now to get these features out the door. And as long as we fail somewhat gracefully, meaning if the time slot is now booked and that's not available anymore, don't crash the app, just kick them back to the booking page and say, sorry, that time is unavailable. I think that's fine. And I don't want to try to like over engineer it and stuff. Min2 says, hey, I want to make a music web app which will analyze users' past streaming history and suggests a playlist or that type of song, but I'm confused how to train AI like that. Please help. Any thoughts, Simon?
Ooh, well, just going back to our RAG project example, maybe there's a way to save that user history data in an S3 bucket, and I don't know if there's a way that you could reference that, ask AI to read that data. That's maybe where I would look into. Does that seem reasonable?
So you're saying put the data
So
into
if
a
you save the
bucket.
history,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, save the data into like an S3 bucket. I'm not sure what your level is, but referencing some stored data and then it would have to read it. And I don't know if there's how you would find similar artists. Maybe there's a category that it can store.
Yeah. Okay, I like where you're going. So I think you could, well, number one, you could test out just how well a general LLM works. So you could just take like your last, go to your Spotify or whatever, Apple Music, find the last 10 songs you listen to, copy that list, paste it into ChatGPT, and just tell ChatGPT, suggest the next 5 songs that I should listen to based on this playlist or based on this history. You could see how well that works, because if that just works really, really well and you actually like the results you're getting back, then you're just going to build a simple, web app that's going to basically be a wrapper around ChatGPT. Now, if you want to get a lot more into the AI stuff, well, okay, and then another thing I'll say is then obviously, depending on how realistic you want to make it, you could then go look at what the APIs are for Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. Maybe there's like an RSS feed or something. I don't know. There's probably a way for you to, via an API, connect to a user's account, get their real-time streaming data, and then you're just kind of, every time they listen to a new song, your app is just queuing up, maybe batches of 5 songs at a time, feeding those through ChatGPT and then giving that back. That might be like a really simple proof of concept app. Like Simon's suggesting, though, is that if you want to build like a more advanced app and try your hand at AI stuff, then I think you're right, Simon. It's like you gotta collect that data. You do have to put it into a vector database somehow. So you have to create documents or a single document or something. So I guess you would, let me think about this.
Based on a 90-day history.
Yeah.
There's a breakdown of categories, percentage, whatever category 1, 50%, category 2. I don't.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like in a super crazy mature system, you might use something like, so you would start listening for all the songs. You would maybe cache those in a Redis queue for like 30 minutes at a time or something. And then every 30 minutes, you would take everything out of that Redis cache, stick it in a single document, stick it in S3 or some other document storage thing, and then load that. I like what Simon said too. You might actually ask AI to categorize it first, like do some like keyword generation around it or tagging, I think is what they call it in like the vector databases. So you might tag it with a certain thing like, hey, this was during the 4th of July. This is a festive occasion, or if you have any other context about what time that user was listening, they were listening in the middle of the night, something like that, you might think about contextualizing that information a little bit. And then exactly like Simon said, after a 30-day period or something, then you can start to, you kind of have a RAG application that would go back and say, okay, it is now lunchtime on a Tuesday based on this person's history and what they were doing at other lunchtimes on Tuesday. Go look at the documents, find out what they were listening to first of all, and then make a suggestion of what to play next. That would be like a really advanced thing.
It sounds like a cool project.
Yeah, I'd be down. I've actually noticed Spotify doing that. Spotify will, what was it? Oh yeah, the DJ. Do you use the Spotify DJ much?
I've seen it. I don't use it though.
So Spotify is what I use for music. So sometimes I'll go to the DJ and I'll tell it to play, and it will do exactly that. It will say, here's something or here's the kind of music you usually listen to on a Thursday afternoon, and it's some like hard rock music because I'm trying to stay awake. That's probably how they do it. Okay, I have an invalid date from a page. What page? It just says page. Time.split is not a function. I mean, I guess it's on this page. It's on the date page, of course. or else would it be time.split is not a function. Why? Handle time select. Is there more splits in here? There is more splits in here, but there's only one time.split. And this is on the front end. Actually, can I just say, right, add to chat, add to edit, add to chat. I'm getting an error. Time.split is not a function. Oh, okay, you've mentioned this a couple times. Let's do it now, finally. What model am I using? So, agent, change model, set, auto.
Claude 4.
I was trying to figure out what it was using beforehand. It must, well, it didn't say auto beforehand.
It was on auto.
It was on auto? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what it says. That suggestion makes my day, although it's night here, but appreciate your idea. Well, you are very welcome. Thought for 5 seconds. I can see the issue. The error is because we changed the time slot structure from strings to objects with time. Yeah, but how come TypeScript didn't pick that up? Or did it? Oh, it did. Okay, TypeScript did pick that up. Don't worry about that, homie. Something. Okay, it enhanced the UI, which, how do you feel about that, Simon? All I said was fix my error, and it's like, hey, guess what? I added a new label that says 2 technicians available.
Yeah, you could probably add that in the rules where it's don't add any new features or things that it didn't, because I think that was a problem with 3.7. I noticed that would add a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, 4.0 is doing it too. I mean,
but that's why the agent model is, I don't use that, but maybe that is useful in certain cases.
sure.
I just ask and just apply what you need.
Right.
The agent will just do everything, right? Just automatically. Well, I mean, it'll apply it or give you the suggestion.
Right. It does a suggestion here, so I could theoretically, and actually, usually, it's in here as well. I'm actually not seeing it now. Is that what this is?
Because you have the agent on. If you hit just ask, it will say it'll prompt you to apply it, I believe.
Yeah, it does. It is. I guess so. The thing I'm getting hung up on is right here. So actually, in most of these little windows here, I don't know if you can see that very well. See this little check mark? Accept.
Yep.
So yeah, I have the agent configured to like wait for my go ahead, but I noticed that like this previous one, I guess it automatically did this one. Technician. Oh, it did. Okay. So even though I told it to wait for me, some things it's still doing on its own. Because I had this configured. Oh, because I have autofix errors on. That's why. So if it notices a TypeScript issue, like it did right here, let me fix the TypeScript errors. It's going to autofix those errors. But for other code changes, like this big one here. Well, nope, it already did this one too. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit of a runaway. That's fine. I mean, for this case, we're still, in this particular project, in this particular case, we're still very much in like just build the functionality, build the proof of concept as quick as possible. So I'm not getting my panties in a bunch here because of this little label. but that's a good point. Like in a larger project where you need to move a little more intentionally, use the manual configuration instead of the agent. Okay. This is not bad. It shows me the agents, whatever. And then, oh yeah, randomly selecting an agent. So in the handler, I like to have all my types in separate files. I usually don't like to put types in the same file, but I gotta stop myself from refactoring too much. The other thing I don't like, or that I want to change here, like I said before, it's actually refetching the available time slots when it does the create job appointment handler. And I would rather it just use, for simplicity, this is not like we're not exactly building for crazy production system yet. I would rather it just make that randomized selection on the front end, because it already knows, right? Selected date. It already has the technicians here. So it should just make the selection, the random technician selection on the front end, and then pass all that back to the back end. I'm not sure. Is that this one here? I'm not sure where exactly it's going to do that. Because then it pushes it to contact. It sets the form data. Oh, that's why. Okay. Because it has to push it into state first. And then it's going to do all that. So I want the random technician selection to happen in page date. Hey, how come that didn't work? That one.
You could also highlight the page that you want, do Control A and then Command L, and it will just add it.
Okay, you can drag it too. So I drug the name down here and it added it. Update the store to save that info, and then update the backend handler to take a full object with the technician ID. It should not have to should not have to call get available time slots anymore. Channel dashboard. Thinking. Live. How do I go to my live dashboard? What is this? View in live control room. Does it tell me 3 concurrent viewers, analytics, 58 views? Huh. My first one yesterday had like 150. Today's only 58. People are like, yeah, enough of that. No thanks. Let's see. Now let's update. Let's go back to this here. First, let's update the store to save the selected technician information. Good. Now let's update the date page to randomly select a technician. Math.random. Looks like that'll work. Now let's update the API route to accept the technician ID. Let me check the types. Booking request types. Let's update the types to include a technician. We're doing all this stuff. Now let's update the Java route to include the technician ID for validation. And then it's putting everything in there. Now it's up to the handler function signature and remove the available get time slot call. Finally, let's update the contact form to include technician data when submitting. Oh, right. That is correct. Yes, you should do that. I forgot about that part. Let me see the rest of the contact page to understand the submission logic. Now let me update the contact page to include. So, to your point, after I switched it to Sonnet, I do see a lot more like reasoning. Is that the right way to say it? Because it says let me see the rest of the contact page to understand the submission logic. Like I do feel like it's doing a better job kind of querying code before it goes and makes the change. Updated the store, updated the page, updated types, API route handler, contact page, new flow. Nice. Don't tell me the benefits. I really should use Grok more because I like how Grok doesn't try to stroke your ego at every turn, you know? As one of the things I hate the most, actually, is when the AI will be like, you're so smart or you're so right, you know? Especially when it gets something wrong and it's like, my bad, you're so smart. That is, you did give the right answer and, you know, I don't know. It's just like...
No yapping.
No yapping. And also admit when you're wrong. I guess just be straight about it. Like, yes, I was incorrect. Here's what I think the new answer is, instead of being confidently like, this is definitely the next right answer.
Yeah, it's getting better though. It catches itself making errors sometimes. It'll say, "Oh wait, that's wrong."
Okay.
It's gonna do that.
That's good. So one available technician. So I guess now the most important thing. Okay. I was trying to get it to fix this too. I don't like how this is all one big, make this an object, not a list of parameters. I think the problem with this inline thing is it only makes this one code change. I don't think it's going to go change the other method signatures.
Yeah, I bet if you add those rules in that I pasted and try that, that may help with code organization.
Okay. Yeah, and all this. Come on. But, well, I think I did. Well, I guess I don't know what your latest one was. So yeah, I'll have to go back and check that. Okay, so bada boom, bada bing. So what do you want to do here? So then I think it's doing the random technician selection on the front end. It should pass that to the back end. This is on contact, so that's going to go to handler. Coming in as a technician ID. So I guess this is the next thing I would want to set a breakpoint on if it lets me. And see how this shakes out. Create job appointment handler. So here, let's say 7th. Well, okay, 8:30 because that has 2 technicians. Put in stuff. Hit submit. No thanks. It looks like it did do the booking. It did not hit my breakpoint, which I wanted it to hit, so I'm just going to go back.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're good. sure if this is right here. Contacts, address. Oh, okay. Down here is where we create the job. This is where things actually start to matter here. Creating jobs starting at, so actually just give me this whole thing, job data. I want all that job data. Try to do this again. No available time slot. Oh, there we go. Okay. 8:30. This still says 2 technicians available. Do not. I don't know how I feel about that. This, do that, submit. Oh, it says Adam E. Did you see that? Dude. What is happening right now? Why is it not hitting my breakpoints? It's not hitting my breakpoints because it doesn't actually book the... It doesn't make the booking until after I've paid. That's why. So, we're going to pay. Oh, you're going to pay all right. And then after it comes back from the payment, then we get this. Okay, so how to do all that? What is it? F5 to keep trucking along. F5 to continue. 400. Why 400? Why 400? So something didn't work here. Failed to confirm the job. Called API job. I don't think it ever made it into this function here. Okay, can I just Control R to refresh everything? Body technician ID is undefined. Okay, so the technician ID did not get passed down here in the call stack. So this would be coming from who? Who's even calling this? This is API job. Confirm job. So we're getting called right here. This is on the front end though, so that breakpoint's not going to work. And no, it's not added, right? Technician ID, which I gotta sneeze. That's funny. It's like, oh, I'm going to fix it for you. I'm just going to remove it. No, I need that. Search params. Why is this getting out of the search params? No. This. Oops. This file should use the ZooStan store to get all its data, including the technician ID.
So you don't attach the ZooStan store file to that request?
Most of the time I don't have to.
You're absolutely right.
There it is. How do where's my rules for that? Configure my rules. I'll tell you. Configure the rules. Response tone Talk to me like I'm a real man. Do not compliment me. If anything, harangue me a little from time to time. Is harangue the right word? Am I saying that right? Harangue word spelling. There it is. Harangue. Okay. Try to get this thing dialed in. Okay. So it's pulling form data and selected technician from the form store. Yeah, so I found the right store and everything. And then looks like it's doing some other stuff. Yeah, I'll just accept that. Selected technician ID, good, solid, I like. Let's come back here. Should fail now because when I hit refresh, the ZooStan store gets cleared out. So this is probably just gonna fail. Well, it just sits at loading because it doesn't have the data that it needs. Oh, you know why though? Oh, that's why. I just created a bug. Because, yeah, I'm gonna show you this bug. It's not gonna work. Because it has to go through the Stripe checkout thing. So you actually get redirected and then you get directed back. So you actually need that big long query string, I believe. Because ZooStand's just like in the page, it's not in local storage or anything. So as soon as you navigate away from that page, you lose all of your ZooStan state. Sorry, I told you the wrong thing. This is not even it's not even loading now. Why isn't it loading? 404. That's just DevTools API job something. I'm still trying to do that. Okay, hold on. Why isn't it working? So the contact page is the first page. Form data. Do I need to, hold on, I'm just gonna shut this down and restart because I'm pretty suspect about this. What do we got? In-town plumbing here, npm run dev. Let's try to restart this. Yeah, okay. I think the debug server just got jacked up. So, okay. So the bug right now is that I'm expecting everything to be in ZooStan state. The problem is that as soon as I select a time and I fill out my details here and I submit, it redirects me to Stripe, so I lose all my ZooStan state. So as soon as I come back, tools the app, booking error, missing required information. So that does not work. So AI did what I told it to do, but I told it to be a bad AI, make a bug. Told you the wrong thing. Information won't be available in the ZooStan store. You'll have to update the redirect route from Stripe with the right? Query parameters. Make sure tech ID is in there.
Does it make sense to move that ZooStan state or the store to be available outside of that view? Like at a almost like a global or like a context level? I don't exactly know the right structuring.
Are you saying? Are you suggesting that as a way to fix this bug?
Would that be a way around it?
Right. So it actually would not be a way around it because the ZooStan store, like, think about it as like a really, really fancy global variable. Like if I come out here in my JavaScript, well, I don't want to screw up the AI work in there. If I come out here in my global JavaScript and I just say something like var a equals 1, this will be true as long as that one page is loaded in the browser. As soon as that page, like as soon as you leave that page, that context is lost. Does that make sense? So like ZooStan, when you're setting up the state in ZooStan, and I think this was true with Redux or any other state manager, it's like that state only exists as long as you're on that page. And if you want state to exist like on that domain, even if you navigate away from the page and come back, then that's where you have to use something like local storage, because local storage will actually store it in the browser window, as it were, or in memory, like outside of that browser page, so that you can fetch it again later. Supreme DZ. Does that make sense, Simon?
Yeah, well, I was suggesting that it be outside of that page. So like maybe at a layout level.
Okay, but in this case here, we're getting redirected to Stripe. So it's not just that we're like leaving that view, it's that we're going to like a completely separate domain, a completely separate web page.
You're doing okay, I thought you were saying within the, because you can do an embedded checkout.
Yeah, we probably should do an embedded checkout. This is another piece of technical debt or whatever that came over from the prototype, because we actually used to do the Stripe checkout in the N8N system. So like we had a certain way of doing it there, and then we kind of just copied it over. So I think you're right that like doing an embedded Stripe checkout would be actually the more better way to handle this. Supreme DZ. So he's asking, he or she is asking a brief summary of what's happening here. We are trying to create. So one of the jobs that I have for one of my clients is to create them a virtual consultation video chat app. So they're plumbers. Instead of calling the plumber out to your house, why can't you just FaceTime them? So that's the system we're building. And right now, one of the complicating factors is that when you're trying to book a technician for that FaceTime that you want to do, you might have 3 or 4 technicians available. So we're just trying to write the code so that, number one, it's showing a schedule, like a blended schedule of all the available technicians. And then once you select a time slot, it will randomly assign a technician to that. And then we're just running issues into the flow of how Stripe is working. Okay, so updated the flow. User completes contact form. Successful URL includes all data, technician info, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm just going to accept it all because it seemed to do this okay the first time. You're already done. Contact. Let's go back to here. Actually, I need to go all the way back. Okay, refresh here. Plumbing. I have a plumbing problem. I want a plumbing repair. Simon did it, not me. Next. And available time slots. Okay, so we still have 2 technicians available on 8:30 for tomorrow, Wednesday, June 4th. This is the one I keep trying to book. And it randomly assigned Adam. Pretty cool, actually. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I didn't tell it to do. It just did it. And I was like, oh, thank you, sir. Submit. So I get redirected to Stripe checkout. I'm going to say pay. And Hopefully. I see a bunch of logs down here. It failed, but customer already exists. That's fine. Prints out a bunch of job data with appointments and technician IDs. I'm not sure what's in there. Error creating job appointment, job failed with 409. Okay, this is further than we've ever made it before, though. I'm pretty happy with that. I did not have the debugger running, so it didn't stop the way that I expected it to stop. Hope you are not an Black Arch says, I hope you are not another vibe coder. I will have you know, Black Arch, I've been doing this for going on. It'll be 15 years this year in December. And didn't you read the title of this live thing? Dan versus the AI. I was talking to Supreme a little while ago, but now I'm talking to Black Arch with the vibe coding comment. Anyway. And I have Simon on the line, in case you guys didn't know that. You guys should be hearing him.
Hey guys.
Technician name. No, don't do that. Hold on. Confirm job. What is this? This is not where I want to be. This is the front end. Let's go to route. Have you ever, Black Arch, have you used NextJs before? Because I need your help. No, just kidding. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go back to debugging because I want my breakpoints. And where's my other breakpoint? Job data. I want to stop it right there. Make sure I have what I need. I don't really need to stop it right there. Customer data. Where was that bug? So... Oh, 409 is a conflict. Is it going to tell me what the conflict was? Do you think? Stuck at the React learning phase for Black Arch. Don't worry. 15 years later and I'm stuck at the learning React phase. Axios error 409. Okay, look at this though. Job created. The job was created. You guys want to go see that in Service Titan? Integration, Service Titan, modular dashboard. Excuse me. So actually this is, I haven't even showed you guys this yet in this whole stream, but this app that we're doing, booking confirmed. Dust my eyes deceive me. Didn't it give me an error a second ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a Stripe error or?
That is a good question. I don't know what happened. We got to hunt that one down. We got an error on the front end. Now it says booking confirmed. And so I'm going to go look to see if that booking is confirmed. I'm going to make sure it's with Adam E. What do you think his last name is, Simon?
I don't know.
Adam E. Okay, so this is, maybe his last name is Eden, like the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
We made a booking for Wednesday, June 4th. You can see there's a couple random bookings in here, but here we've got, can I click on this? You guys didn't necessarily see all this data. Oh, you know what we can look at though? This ID. So the ID was 7681 blah, 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 971. And if we look up here in this ID, I know that's probably super tiny. I can't make that bigger. But it does say 971. So this is the booking that we just created through our app in Service Titan, which is the backend system that our plumbers use. And you can see it was for the right time slot. You can see that Adam E was successfully assigned to it. So all that is working pretty good. The one thing I did notice, we're going to have to sort this out eventually. It looks like Adam already had a virtual consultation during this time. This is weird. It shows up from 8 to 9. I'll have to hunt this down later. Arrival window, start time, end time, 8 to 9. So this was booked as a 1 hour duration. Don't ask me why. I'm not sure. Somehow we did this yesterday. And now we booked another thing on top of that. So we got a bug in our logic there. Let me capture that before I forget. So come down to my journal here. And next I'm going to say bug Adam had 8 to 9 appointment, and we scheduled a new one on top. Bro, assign me some clients, Supreme says. I'm here breaking my fingers for open source. Black Arch says 409 error if you try to upload a file to the web server, which is older than the one already there, resulting in a version control conflict. Okay. But I think you're right, though, because we did definitely get that error, that 409. I just don't know. Is it in here? It created the job. I get this job created log, and then it did some other API call, which is probably Black Arch just subscribed. Woohoo! Thanks, Black Arch. I don't even think Simon is subscribed yet.
Yeah, I subscribed.
Oh, okay.
And liked.
Okay, good. So I guess it's probably this call right here, to be honest with you guys. Get invoice by ID. I will have to look into what this does. I got to wrap this stream up, actually, because I got to go pump some iron with my wifey.
You want to add a check to make sure you don't double book? To make sure the time slot is open?
Why are you talking about for the error that we just saw right here?
Yeah, because it allowed you to book on top of something else, right?
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out. Well, so there's potentially two issues, because number one, I'm going to leave this here for a second, and I'm going to go open up a new one here, because you saw right here, it was showing Adam as available at 8:30. So there's two issues, and I think what you're saying, Simon, I think is on the back end. You might want to do that check again. Oh, somebody else subscribed. Thank you. I can't read that. The text is really small. Oh, I missed it. I was trying to make it bigger. I want to learn React. Guide me to the best path to follow. Currently, I'm experienced Java dev. 6 years of experience, self-employed. Nice. Yeah, I'll get back to that in a second. So, point is that we need to have like front-end validation and back-end validation is what I'm thinking. And it shouldn't have even given us the option to book Adam in the first place at the 8:30 time slot, but it did. I'm gonna add this to my journal here. Front end and back end. And actually, again, for like this app is still pretty very much in prototype phase, I would say. So for the prototype, I probably wouldn't worry about back end validation, to be honest with you guys, because it's all about doing as little as possible in order to, because we got to build this thing. I'm building this for this plumbing client. Okay. They, in their own words, they're like, hey, if this FaceTime app existed, we would use it for our business. We think it's so valuable, we think we can go sell it to a lot of other service businesses as well. So the big question is that true? Can they go sell this to other businesses? So I'm not super concerned about making a perfectly bulletproof system. I'm concerned about just getting this car on the road and letting people test drive it. And if if the plumbers share this with 5 of their friends and everybody freaking loves it and they want to use it today, that's when we know it's. I just want to call that out because you have to be able to code differently for different environments. And like just because you see some guy on YouTube who's streaming like you are right now, like taking all these shortcuts, that doesn't mean you should take these shortcuts. So that means you should be aware of what context you're coding in and code appropriately. Do you agree, Simon?
Agreed.
Anything to add?
Nope. Not yet.
So we didn't do that. We did do this. Okay, we got to wrap this up. I got to go. So we did select one of the available technicians. We did refactor the time store. I did not get to some other stuff I wanted to get to, like the business unit environment variable. We didn't even talk about that. But we'll do that
checkout
tomorrow. What's that?
I was going to suggest the embedded checkout page, the Stripe, React Stripe.
Yeah, you know.
So you don't have to navigate away from the app. You could just do it all in the app.
Yeah, that's a good question. Hey, does anybody want to create an embedded Stripe checkout page? All this code is out here. Where is it? Jemini-io, 14 repositories. In-town plumbing front-end app. So if anybody wants to like fork it and make a little contribution, as if you guys don't have better things to do. No, I think the thing with that, Simon, again, I'm thinking, okay, for this client, the way that I operate is I try to do at least one demo per week. And each of those demos, right, I want to provide at least one new feature. And then any extra time that I have, I will go back and refactor and clean up the code. This is like the rhythm that I try to do. And I try to always structure my project so that we can kind of like deliver one thing, have one good demo, and still have time to, you know, be refactoring, cleaning up design, etc. So I would add that probably to the list of things to do. In fact, let's go do that right now. I got my task board over here, which we haven't really looked at. In the backlog, I'm going to say refactor Stripe to be embedded checkout. Delete. I don't know why it always adds an extra one down there. I would probably not worry about that until I have this one feature that we're working on right now working really well. Because right now what I'm trying to do, the last demo that I gave my client was basically this virtual consultation working with one technician. We had hard-coded everything for Pedro, and the next major feature that I want to demo 1 week later is to show that we can support basically all the technicians. So I had to go change things in Service Titan. I had to set up some of the back-end stuff for that. We're now building this form to support many technicians. Once I get that feature done, it's Tuesday. My demo with them is on next Monday. So once I get that feature fully working, then something like that Stripe checkout, some other refactoring things, those would be great things to work on. What else do I have on here? Actually, this is... So the form should populate, oh yeah, job types from Service Titan, new job types, deploy to public. This is not even publicly deployed yet. And then what I'm working on right now is the booking for any available tech. So there's actually a couple more things I want to do because, again, I didn't show you guys that, but all this right here, plumbing, water heaters, this is all hard-coded data just for demo purposes. Really, I should be pulling all this data from their Service Titan backend. So that was another thing that I wanted to have ready for Monday's demo. Like, this is real data, and it's working for all the technicians. Everything else will be the same for now. All right.
Stuff.
Yeah. Take another look at the comments here. So, Supreme, join again some more. We can talk about the whole Java to React stuff. I don't want to disturb you while coding. Just let you know I'm waiting for your answer the whole stream. My previous question, thanks. The whole stream. Dude, you only joined like 10 minutes ago, right? The whole stream. Unless I missed an earlier comment. Anyways, Supreme. Yeah, I gotta go. But dude, as I was telling Simon this earlier, like I'm trying to. My goal is just every time I'm working on this to stream. I don't know if I'll be able to do that because I do go a lot slower when I'm streaming. But I'm hoping that pretty much every day, every other day for a couple of hours as I work on this, I'll turn the stream on. So subscribe, watch for the stream to start, hop back in, and we can chat about that. Any last thoughts, Simon?
No, it was good. I think it was good. Thanks for letting me join, and hopefully everyone got some value out of it. I think it was great.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow.